Y creo que se We appreciate our guests who are here. We should have some folks online. Is that right, Mr. Francisco? We got a couple online and a couple here. We appreciate everyone taking the time to be with us today in our effort to have some community engagement and outreach with our stakeholders, our parents, and people that just are interested in the work that we're doing at Hendry County Schools. I'm Mike Swindle, Superintendent of Schools. We're glad that those of you who are joining us personally, maybe some more will come in, and those of you who are with us online. Today we're going to talk about a handful of things that are really important in driving the direction of the work that we do here in Hendry County with regards to taking care and teaching the babies and the students that we have and keeping them safe and making sure that we secure a good future for them and a good future education as we move forward. We're going to ask for some of your engagement that's here today, and if you're online, you're going to be able to engage as well. We're going to make sure you understand how to do that. And then at the end of this, we hope that you benefit and understand a little more about our school district and where we are. And as a result, that we have a better engagement system with our community. So thank you for being here. I'll go around the room real quick and just kind of introduce Team Hendry. These are the people that have been working. A lot of times, as leaders, we work behind the scenes. We're not at the schools all the time. Most of the time, we're in and out. We're visiting different schools, helping doing different things. But our work is at the district level. And this group really is what as of today, I read this morning, the champions of managed change. We have a lot of changes that have happened in 4 years. We are constantly changing, and this group are the champions of making sure that change happens that's in the best interest of students. And that's, again, why we're here today. Dr. Barb Bundy is the Director of Federal Programs. Dr. Angela Staley is Deputy Superintendent. Ms. Jenny Goff is the Director of CTE and Workforce Education. Mr. Francisco in the back is the Assistant Director of IT. Mr. Tony Busen is the Director of Maintenance and a whole bunch of other things. Ms. Duncan is the Director of Elementary Education. Mr. Sanchez, Director of Secondary Education. Ms. Busen is a board member. And Mr. Clay is the Director of Transportation. And is that all you do? Transportation? Okay. Well, we may let you do safety if you have any. So we appreciate you guys being here, kind of get the idea of who we are. So we're going to talk today about Hendry County Schools. And to kind of set the stage, I'll kind of give you kind of an overview of Hendry County Schools. In Hendry County, we have just a click over about 40,000 residents. We have 4,600, 700 students. It fluctuates this time of year quite a bit. I'm sorry, 7,600 students, not 4,000, 7,600 students. It's kind of where we are numerically. We do that with 11 sites. We have one pre-K center here attached to the other side of this building. And outside of that, the district is split pretty equally with one high school, one middle school, and 3 elementaries on both sides. And that's kind of who we are. We have 1,000 employees. Out of that 1,000 employees, we have teachers, we have bus drivers, mechanics, a lot of great leaders, and everybody that works together and loves children and loves doing what we do every single day. This year, the current budget year that we're in, we have $236 million budget. That's a huge budget. Roughly 80% of our general fund, or the main part of our budget, if you will, is salaries. So that gives you an idea of what it costs to employ 1,000 people. About 20% of our budget is in operational money. So we've got to pay for the light bill. We've got to fix the roof as it leaks. We need new buses. And we have to pay for diesel fuel and things like that. And so it kind of gives you an idea of where we are. Every year, this time of the year, we're beginning budget cycle. We're all holding our breath right now, waiting for our leaders in Tallahassee to finalize the state budgetary process so that we will know where we're going next year. That drives what we're able to do for teacher raises and other things that are really important to us. So just to kind of give you an idea of where we are and what we're doing this kind of year. We're wrapping up the school year. We've got, 3 days or something like that left. Roughly, yeah. And so as we wrap the school year up, we're very excited. And I'll kind of begin it in with the same comment. The academic gains that we've had have been phenomenal. You're going to learn more specifically about that with Ms. Duncan and Mr. Sanchez. And we're looking forward to the end of the school year, this being the highest achieving year academically we have ever had in Hendry County School. And that's nothing short of amazing work from our employees and amazing engagement from our students. So we're very pleased. We're very happy to have who we have. And we're just very excited about what the academic change is going to be for this coming school year. As we, as leaders of the school district, as teachers, and as a community, we want to make sure that our belief systems and what we believe in education is aligned with what we do every day. We do that through what we call our strategic plan. Our strategic plan is an outline, if you will, that aligns our beliefs along with our actions that we do every single day. Is what we're doing today, is what we're doing aligned with the strategic plan. How does it drive achievement on the strategic plan? And that is very important to us. We're going through a strategic plan update and renewal this year, and that's really the main thrust of why we want the community to engage in person and online. So you can see the strategic plan. We want you to see it, hear it, and we want you to engage in it. So if you see things in there that you like, don't understand, or that should be added, that's why you're here. If you want to ask questions or clarifications as we go, please do that. At the end, we will have time for you to ask questions that are anything, off topic or anything to do with schools or employment or whatever you want to ask about. But please don't hesitate to ask anything clarifying as we go through now. To start us off, Dr. Sadie's going to come up and she's going to go through the strategic plan and make sure that you see it. And so we're going to have a little PowerPoint over on that side. And hopefully at the end of this, you will know the strategic plan inside and out.
Hi, thank you for coming. I want to talk to you a little bit about the strategic plan. As Mr. Swindle said, it is a work in progress. We are taking feedback. You will notice on every page we need to make clear that it is still in draft form. It is in draft form because we have taken it as a district leadership team, sort of created it from the 2021 to the 2024 strategic plan that we first created, and now we are creating 25 to 28. The district leadership team took it, made some changes, and looked at what sort of we have learned from the first one, and made the changes into this one. Once we did that, we presented it to the principals. The principals then went back and presented it to districts, teachers, staff, everybody in the schools. And we got feedback from them. Each school was able to provide feedback on a Google form. So we have all of that feedback. Once we got that feedback, we then presented to the school board. And the school board then has provided us feedback. The last step in this effort is the feedback of the community and the other stakeholders, the parents. And this was our effort in order to do that. And Mr. Muniz will talk about the ways to do that for those of you online and the way to continue to do that throughout. So I will get started and work through the plan. We won't read every slide to you. There's your message from our beloved superintendent. And here's our amazing school board members and their beautiful pictures. And then we have, it's the last presentation, I have to make it sound good. Then we have our mission and vision, of course, about our Hendry County schools, and Mr. Swindle said quite a bit of that. And then this is what I just talked about in our strategic planning process. You will notice on our goals that they are not numbered in this one. They were numbered in the past, and we had looked at that and didn't think that any of these should be numbered as a first priority, second priority, because these are all our top priorities. We can talk about academic achievement and safety and security and fiscal stewardship. They all tie together. There is not one that is more important over the other, even though, of course, the academic achievement of students is very high up there. But if we don't have the money to teach them, if they don't feel safe, all of those things. So they are not numbered on here. However, we do discuss each of them individually. So our priority strategies are on the left in the blue, and then in the center of all of the pages, you will find the goals. So our comprehensive qualitative data that indicate 100% of students feel safe at school, students and staff. This is of utmost importance, and we talk about 100% because it needs to be 100%. If you don't feel safe at school, you don't learn and you don't want to work. So we utilize that as one of our biggest priorities and goals. Reduction in the number of incidents reported to school environmental safety incident reporting system by 10%. This is called CESR. This is the reporting that goes to the state that is the higher level offenses, the weapons, the fighting, all of that we have drastically reduced in the past 4 years since we started the strategic plan, and we would like to continue to reduce that by 10%. Ideally, we should have 0, but 10% a year, kids will be kids. Academic and achievement goals is next on the agenda, and if you look at 23-24, we had a 44% proficiency rate in our FAST ELA, and we would like to increase that to a 54% proficiency rate. And then on our FAST math, a 47% to a 57%. And I like to talk about this document as a living, breathing document. So if we successfully increase all of this year, or we make massive increases this year, like our hopes and dreams and plans are, we would then change this for next year. So it does not stay here. If things change and we need to update the percentages, we do that throughout. Our school culture and climate is also one of our top priorities. We would like to have 75% or greater satisfaction rating in the involvement in decision makings by our employees, students, and parents. And we looked at our culture and climate survey from this past year in January and took that data and figured out the top priorities from that data. Those were some of our lowest, was the feeling of the decision making being cumulative instead of from top down. So this is one of our asks and one of our pushes and look fors, is to have that satisfaction rating go. And this is where we start, these town hall meetings and all of the group effort. 90% satisfaction rating of school or workplace environment, and 50% greater participation in the culture and climate surveys for employees, students, and parents. And you will notice that we have all 3 of those listed because we have adopted a new system that we use Remind right now. And for next year, our new system of communication will change, and we will be able to do those surveys by phone, and all of the things that the communication pieces, the principals will have communication out to their parents and staff, so that those things will change a little bit, and we hope that to get those outcome metrics as well. Teacher recruitment and retention obviously is important. The number 1 reason that students learn is a teacher in front of them. You have to have teachers in the classroom, and in order to have those teachers in the classroom, we have to recruit them and we need to retain them. We know that Hendry County is one of the best places to work for us, but we need everybody else to know that as well. So we're doing a lot of things to make that happen. Family and community engagement, same. I think we have made leaps and bounds on our improvement of getting people to attend our family and community engagement activities. Our ESE and Student Services Department in April had a family and community engagement event in LaBelle for one Saturday, and hundreds of families were there getting resources and doing all of the things that we would like for them to know, and of course games and prizes and dances and all of those things. That will continue because it was such a success, so we are going to flip side. So next year, Lewiston will be the recipient of that, and it was just a fantastic time for all. So 10% great attendance increase each year by parent-teacher conferences, community and district events, and overall communication engagement. And again, some of that starts with doing these. These sort of town hall meetings will continue for next year. And then fiscal stewardship. This is providing basically an open book to how we are doing fiscally for our finances in these years. We have to optimize our grant funding. We need to keep our targeted fund balance exactly where the board requires us to do so, and then some. A healthy savings account is always for the best, especially in these uncertain times. And then, of course, the transparency and accountability for our finances. And I think that's it. Do you have any questions, concerns, anything I went over? Yes, sir?
Do we know what we mind is changing to for next year?
What, it's called Aptitude.
Aptitude?
Yes, yes. It is a great program, and our IT department is working hard on it.
When are we going to roll our training out for that?
It'll be rolled out slowly.
When's training for our educators going to be? Because he's in.
For Aptitude.
Yes, sir. So right now, what we're doing with SNG is we're configuring all the back-end stuff, pretty much the developer side of the application.
Okay.
The communication between the data sync regarding our teachers and students. After we have that, we start a kickoff and looking to train our staff members and our teachers. What Aptitude is looking to do is, I like how one of the biggest, metrics with Aptitude is that they're also willing to get in front of our staff members, in front of our teachers, in front of our principals. So we're looking to deploy this by a couple of phases, by having our school admins first, and then our district admin kind of seeing, fine-tuning everything, and then kind of having our teacher training.
It's like our teachers, you think maybe the first of the school years when nobody get trained?
Our goal is to have it before the first of the school year. That way we
Okay,
can
awesome. So roughly when school comes
Put
back.
that time back.
Good deal.
Yeah,
Awesome.
That is our goal.
It'll be a great thing, and it's sort of, that Aptitude piece brings the dojo sort of piece into
Correct.
it as well, so they have that classroom sort of base to it. So it kind of combines everything, and it works like perfectly for, at least what we found, perfectly for what everything we did.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Sadie. As you can see, the strategic plan is a comprehensive way of aligning what's important to us. When I say us, our parents, our employees, our students, our teachers, and everyone that's involved with the public education system to make sure that what we're doing is aligned every single day. One of the things that's new, well, really the only thing that's new on the strategic plan is the safety piece. When we did this 4 years ago, it wasn't even on there. Today, not only is it on there, but we believe it to be very, very important. We all know that our students, our parents, our employees must feel safe. Our parents need to know that when they send their babies and drop their babies out, they're going to be safe, loved, fed, educated, and home safe. So that's incredibly important. So we have put a lot of energy, manpower, funding, and resources through our safety department, and Mr. Clay, our safety director, into making sure that happens. But we cannot lose sight of the fact that we are a school. Our primary goal of mission is to educate students. Educating students is what we do, right? And so the achievement of those students are very, very important to us. As a school district, we want to always be driving forward, strive for higher gains, strive for higher academics for our students, strive to fulfill every student's educational potential. And so that's really important to us as a district. Where we've been as a district is we've kind of maintained a C average, and we've been kind of fluctuating through the C's, but it's not a very easy way to understand how schools are graded or how the district is graded. It's actually a very long algorithmic equation that's very difficult to understand, but nonetheless, that's how we're held accountable by the state, by our board, and by the community. And so we want to do everything we can to drive achievement up. And so we started looking very closely at the data and the numbers and what makes it happen 4 years ago. And today, we're not perfect by no means, but we have gotten pretty doggone good at understanding the data and how do we get better at our data. And at the end of the day, what that means is how do we teach our kids better? It's not just a matter of how do we get better scores, it's how do we teach better and how do our students achieve more. So here to help us understand more of that, Ms. Duncan from the elementary side and Mr. Sanchez from the secondary side is going to come up and talk to us about our school data.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, thank you for coming.
Yes, yes. We're excited to share the progress that we have made in terms of student academic performance over the last 3 years.
I'm sorry, I'm sidetracked. Yes, looking at all of our data, before we get into the numbers, the last couple of years we've really taken a hard look at training for teachers and looking at the new standards that have been rolled out over the last handful of years and really doing strategic standards-based planning with our teachers as to become better prepared when we walk into the classroom and we instruct our students, and really making that rigor of learning and that rigor of teaching to the epitome of what is expected for our students. And so we do contribute a lot of the professional learning work that we've been doing not only with our teachers but with our school leaders, and digging into the data as a contributing factor to our continuing growth and performance.
And so what you see on the projector is really outcomes, but what we want to talk about before we get to the outcomes and what Ms. Duncan is talking about is the inputs, right? Like what has gone into producing the outcomes, and most certainly has been about the work that we've done with our teachers, with our principals around standards-based planning and instruction. A couple of years ago, the district made the decision to incorporate half-day professional learning days into the school calendar, and that really was a true game changer for us. It really provided our leaders at the building level and our teachers with the time and space on a monthly basis to look at their curriculum, look at their data, right, and make those necessary modifications month to month. All right. The other thing that we have really modified and changed was our approach to principal training and principals meetings. For a very long time, a lot of our principal meetings were really focused on procedural, managerial type of things, right? Just the operations of the building. We made the decision when we looked at the data, when we looked at what does it take to continuously improve student achievement, is we got to really continue to develop and build capacity, build that instructional leadership element within our school principals, right? And so every principal meeting now incorporates a professional learning series of things that are designed and targeted, right, to continue to increase their knowledge of the standards, their knowledge of assessments, their knowledge of how we improve student academic growth. All right. And then the other thing, I want to talk about the quarterly data comms.
Yeah, so we've been spending a lot of time, as he said, growing our instructional leaders, and another way that we do that is by having not only our leadership team, but our principals join other schools in doing what we call instructional walks or instructional rounds. And so we go in and we look at classrooms and we watch teachers teach and we watch students learn, and we really think about the lesson plans and what was written is what being implemented in the classroom, evidenced by what was listed in the lesson plan, and then being able to provide quality feedback to those teachers on the instruction that they're providing, and giving our principals the opportunity to collaborate and really have conversations around what we're seeing in classrooms in a variety of classrooms as to help each other, right? It's another opportunity for them to grow because they're getting outside of their school and seeing students learn in a different environment.
I think those conversations that happen during that process of those instructional walks is really powerful, because it's that conversation, it's that discourse, it's that communication between teachers and administrators, between administrators and district staff, right, that really helps us continue to move the needle in the right direction. All right, and so when we look at our outcomes, right, we are nowhere near where we want to be, but we're very proud of the fact that we have made strong growth of the last few years. And so when you look at these 3 school years worth of data, it's important to note that it's hard to compare oranges to oranges because the standards that students are assessed on changed during this time period. So in 21-22, students were assessed on the FSA standards, all right? In 22-23 and 23-24, the state of Florida switched to the new BEST standards, right? These were more rigorous standards, right? Designed to challenge students more academically. And so, while the standards got more difficult and more complex, our data continued to trend and improve in the right direction, which is very, very impressive. And so when you look at our overall ELA third grade proficiency, that was not a metric that the state evaluated until 23-24, which we came in at 53%, which is right at about the state average. So we're very competitive there with the state average in terms of our third grade reading proficiency. Our ELA, which measures the literacy performance of our students in grades 3 through 10, went up 4 percentage points during that time period. Learning gains is a metric that the state of Florida uses to determine how much a student should grow in their performance year to year on the same test, right? So if they took the 4th grade test in literacy, by the time they're in 5th grade, they should have received this particular score in order to make the year's worth of adequate progress. And so you can see there that overall our students gained 9 points in that metric. And then what we have is in the lowest 25th percentile, the state of Florida says that a district and a school has to focus on improving the performance of the lowest 25th percentile of their students based on last year's assessments. And you can see we've made tremendous progress there. Basically a 20-point gain over this course because that has been a direct result of our more intense focus on being a data-driven school district, right? Where we look at the individual students, granular level, right? And our teachers are having a conversation about the specific scores, and they're getting students to own the data. They're getting students to talk about this is what I need in order to meet my goal for this school year, right? We're challenging students to make that progress, right? Overall in math proficiency, we went up from 35 to 47%, so a tremendous 12-point gain there. And same thing with math, in terms of the learning gains, you see the same trend there of positive growth. Math, science is based on 5th grade science, 8th grade science, and also the high school biology assessment, which you see a 7-point gain there. Social studies is based on the middle school civics and the high school biology. We saw an 11-point gain there. Both of these assessments did not change, like the math and the ELA. Okay, middle school acceleration is a component that takes into account the percentage of middle school students that take a high school course and pass the corresponding end of course exam, or earn an industry certification. All right, and you can see there that again we continue to track in the right direction, and we're going from 42 to 59%. High school acceleration is about the number of high school graduates that graduated on time that had either an AP exam, which is a university level course exam passed, dual enrollment credit earned, or they earned an industry certification. And you can see that we took a slight dip in 23, but then we rebounded in 24 to a solid 63%. Our graduation rate in 22, graduation rates are always lagging indicators. So the graduation rate that you see for the school district grade in 21-22 is actually reflective of the graduation rate of our high schools in the year 21. All right. And so you can see that in the year 2020 and in the year 2021, the state of Florida relaxed some of the graduation assessment requirements because of the COVID pandemic. It was at 87%. We went to 76% in 23, rebounded to 81 for the graduating class of 2023, which is 81. The graduating class of 2024 is now up to 85%. So again, we continue to make progress in the right direction, and that's a testament to a lot of hard work that goes on, not just at the high school level, but really the K-12 continuum, right? Because high school graduation doesn't start when a kid gets to high school. It really starts when they're in pre-K and they're learning how to read and they're learning their basic math, right? So everybody in the whole entire district plays a part in producing a good graduation rate, which in a lot of ways is the most important metric for our school district. And so when you combine all these points, in 21-22, a school district was rated on 1,100 points because each one of these categories has a maximum value of 100 points. We earned 530 points, which is the 48% of all eligible points. In order for you to be a B school district in that school year, you had to achieve 54% of all eligible points. We were 6 points away from a C, from a B. All right. And this year, notice that there's no learning gains because this was the first year the new test was introduced. So that's called what the state calls a baseline year. So there's no components for learning gains. And so instead of 1,100 points, it was only based on 700 points, which we achieved 380 which put us at 54%. Well, last year, because of the baseline raise, there was some inflation around the state, and so the state decided, they waved the magic wand and they said, in order for you to be a B school district that year, you had to achieve 58% performance, right? But they would have kept it at 54 like the previous year, we would have been a B that year, all right? And so the story only gets better in 23-24 because we got to the 56% because now they went back to incorporated learning games, so there was a big mystery about what the B cutoff mark was. Was it going to go back to B 54 like it was the previous year, or are they going to stay at 58 like they had that year? Well, they again waved their magic wand and they made the grade of B that year at 57%. And we were just 1 point shy away from being a historic B school district, which we have done a lot of work, and our teachers and our students, our administrators are continuing, day in, day out, to do the hard work that it takes to hopefully this year get past that B mark and be a B school district, because every single one of our students deserves a high quality education. All right?
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez, Ms. Duncan. It is very important to us that we are a high achieving school. We want to drive there, we want to continue working there, we will never take our foot off the throttle. And that's why we do everything else, with regard to keeping kids safe, making sure the buses are running. We want to make sure, that we are always driving for better spots with regard to the grade. This is another matrix we're going to show you guys real quick to make sure you understood where we were as a district with regard to size. There are 67 school districts in the state of Florida. 40 of those 67 today are hemorrhaging students very, very badly. Broward County this year is scheduled and expecting to lose 31,000 students between now and August. And that's happening in most of the larger districts, some of the small rural districts, but mainly it's happening in the larger districts. And they're going to large charter schools, private schools, and a lot of homeschools. We have some doing that, but just not the magnitude that they're doing in the other districts. In fact, not only are we not losing students at that rate, you'll see we're actually gaining students. And so if you look at 21 to 2021 to all the way to 25, we actually are up about a little over 200 students. And that's pretty important and pretty impressive for a rural district to be gaining. We're one of the few rural districts in the state that actually is gaining. And so we're proud of that. Our location where we are with regard to the south part of the peninsula of Florida, being able, to move away from the coast, come inland, the great things that we offer, and we feel like we've got a great school district. It's very safe. And if you'll notice, we don't talk about discipline much. Matter of fact, you're not going to hear anything about discipline. The only thing I will tell you is that because of the formative changes, things that we have done, and the forward thinking, our discipline level in Hendry County Public Schools has dropped tremendously. Our number of incidents with fights, drugs, weapons, and things is very, very low for the entire state. And we're proud of that. That's because of what we do. And we think that that's part of what's driving. People know when they come to us. We don't have any incidents. When we do, we get on it hard. We don't allow things in our schools. That's acceptable in most other schools. So this is really huge. Growing students is very important. That's also how we're funded. And so as we look at the funding mechanisms in the state, and the schools that are losing students, they're also losing funding. So at least holding our own pretty much and growing a little bit, that will help us with regard to the funding as a school district. Well, one of the problems that it does create, it's a good problem to have, is where do you put all these students? And so we have to continue to look at our footprint of our schools and how do we accommodate classroom spaces and seats for students. We have a wide range of schools. Our newest school is 26 years old this year. That's old, right? Our oldest school was put into service in 1967. So that's a little over 50 years old. And so we have a wide gamut of where we are with regard to our facilities. In order to accommodate students in Hendry County schools, we're in the process of building a new high school in LaBelle. And then that's going to cost matriculation there. And Mr. Busey, Director of Facilities Maintenance and now new construction, he's going to kind of give you an update on where we are. And he'll point out to you that back there on the back wall, there's an actual rendition of it that you can check out as we're sitting or maybe when we're finished. Mr. Busey.
About 4 years ago, we met with the state of Florida for the Florida schoolhouses, inventory of schoolhouses. And the director there said, you have the opportunity to apply for the special facilities use construction account. We heard that, our ears popped up, and well, we can build a new school. So we went through that process, and we went through the process, and we went to Tallahassee, we got approved, we got ranked #1, so we got the okay to go through and build a new high school. Our new LaBelle High School will be on New Helms Road over in LaBelle, and it'll accommodate around 1,500 students. We are working through the permitting right now, with civil engineering, the architectural, and construction manager side. It's moving, I wish we were moving a little bit faster, but we were right on schedule for our timeline to be having students there on school year 2027. And we will have walls coming up probably next year at this time. And we are very excited about that, to have this facility in our new school, or in our community. We're gonna have, it's gonna be built as a hurricane shelter also, so we're hardening part of the school, so we can accommodate and help out the community for during the hurricanes or bad inclement weather. And also, this is a school, as you know, we've used one school for over 50 years. So this is gonna be a school that is gonna help out our community for the next 5 decades. So it's gonna be an awesome thing.
Any questions about New LaBelle High School? Thank you, Mr. Busey. What we're terming the New LaBelle High School, because it's going to be such a large, beautiful place, and we want to use it as a community place. This is a place where the community comes for events and things to happen. And so we've kind of termed it, it's going to be the front porch of LaBelle. This is a spot where a lot of things are going to happen over the next 50 years. And so we want people to feel the community of LaBelle High School. And again, when we're finished, if you want to take a peek at that, and that's changed just a little bit, but it's still pretty much what you see up there. We can help walk you through and explain that as we get there. One of the things that we try to do is we try to be forward thinking and proactive with regard to how do we operate our schools? What does that school calendar look like? What do the start times look like? How do we accommodate the needs of our students, our parents, our families, our teachers? And so that's really important to us, and it's really important to you as well. Ms. Duncan and Mr. Sanchez, I think, both of you, right? The both of them are going to come back up and talk to us about the calendar. It's a little bit different this year, and we're really excited about the different calendar and the school start times.
All right, so the new calendar is on the screen, you can see. Ultimately, we modified the calendar recently to think about work-life balance for our students, but also for our staff and our families. As you know, being a student in education with very rigorous standards can be exhausting. There's a lot of things that we have to accomplish and get done. And students are really working bell to bell from the time they arrive at campus to the time they leave campus. And so there is an opportunity for students as well as our staff to get a little tired or restless over a long period of time. So what we've built into the calendar is the opportunity at approximately every 9 weeks to have several days off, and you'll note that with the addition of the October fall break, so that our students as well as our staff and our families can have an opportunity to rejuvenate, take a little vacation if they need to, take an extra day off in their pajamas, whatever works for them, to just rejuvenate and be ready to go when it's time to be back on campus and really get back into the intensive learning that our students are doing.
Yeah, as Dr. Staley said earlier this evening, the number one way to ensure student learning is to put in front of them a quality teacher. All right, and so before we can talk about strategic plans, improvement plans, professional learning, right? You've got to ensure that the teachers are in the classrooms, right? And the situation is very challenging for the 15,000 school districts across this country in terms of recruiting teachers. And because the situation is challenging, right, we have to think of innovative, out-of-the-box ways to try to incentivize educators to join the team in Hendry County. Because we believe that we're a great school district to work for, But what is that it factor? What's that factor that separates us from other school districts, right? Well, we have a fall break in October. That's one of the many other things that separate us. But we have to frame it in that context that if we are going to sustain the academic growth that we have seen over the last 4 years, we have to continuously work on the recruitment side, and make sure the teachers are here.
And I would just add on to that, you'll see the first few days of late July, early August, we did build in ample opportunities for our teachers to not only have professional learning days, but paid opportunities to work in our classrooms and prepare their classrooms for our students. And that is important. Yeah.
So, how likely is this calendar to stay this way? This is what I'm saying.
I think if it's a popular occurrence and we see that the data trends positively with it, I think that we're pretty confident that it's.
Well, so what I would say to that is, we have to always keep our head on the swivel. We're willing to change to meet the needs of our students, parents, and community, right? If this is it, and this makes everyone happy and we're good to go, then we're happy to stay with it. We don't know what's going to change next year, right? And there's a lot of stuff being floated out for 4 to 8 weeks, we don't know. And so, but we believe that, and we know that this found incredible favor with our calendar committee, which is made up of administrators, teachers, ACA, our union, and everybody work together on this. And they're incredibly happy with this calendar. And when we pushed it back out and re-vote, it was an unbelievable support vote on it.
I'm just curious, I'm not planning on.
No, that's
Are
fine.
parents taken into account also?
So we obviously take the parents into account, and that's one of the biggest reasons we didn't really lean toward a 4-day week. And one of the reasons, there are multiple reasons why we did not, but if you've got a child that you got to take care of, and you've got a job, that's a conundrum that you put a parent in, right? And so that was one of the reasons we backed out of that. We were looking at what we call the balanced calendar model as well, which is where we took a month out of summer and then put 2 weeks break rather than one. Well, again.
My daughter wasn't happy about that.
Well, that's right. And so it actually trended positively, but not enough. We felt like to make that high level change. So we do take into account the fact that, we've got parents and have jobs. We're in a community where most people work, right? And so we get that. And so we believe that this sort of satisfies, all of the needs of our teachers, our students, our parents, and it gives kind of a new model, if you will, for us to look forward to, in our profession. So we hope that this drives some happiness with our employees, that they can say, matter of fact, me.
Maybe it looks good, but I was just wondering how the system works and like if parents were surveyed when that took place.
Was there a parent survey? So on the committee is made up of district folks, teachers, union, and then they bring in, and then we took it to, and then all of the entire employment gets to vote. So, not the parents.
Most of them are parents.
Right, they are parents, but we didn't push it
They
out.
still work.
Whoever's on the committee kind of thing.
That's, well, they come up with the plan, and then all 1,000 employees get a chance to vote on it.
They all voted.
And then what? Sorry.
They vote, so we give them options. And this
All
was
1,000.
All
all of
1,000
our
employees.
employees.
Oh.
Right, and so this was employee driven.
Or had the
is what it was.
opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, school start time. Good, that one.
So the other minor change for this next school year, primarily on the Lewiston side, is there are some changes to our school start and stop times. And part of the purpose around that was to allow our Lewiston Early Learning Center to extend the day and then to support our transportation system in terms of being able to drop students off at the various schools at staggering the time frame. So what was happening this current school year is, like all elementary schools started at the same time, but the same bus went to all 3 schools. And so we're looking to stagger school times a little bit so that the kids riding a bus aren't being dropped off at the same and having to wait as long for the buses. So this is our current plan for next school year to address those needs, and hopefully we're putting it out to our parents early enough that they can make accommodations for that as well. The LaBelle side does look a little bit different, but overall, LaBelle did not have as many changes as the Lewiston side. Questions about that?
And one of the things that's really important for us to discuss when it comes to school start times is this. In the school year 26-27, the Florida government has passed a bill that basically requires that middle schools start no earlier than 8 o'clock and that high schools start no earlier than 8:30. All right? So that was a law that was passed, right, that affects 26-27. 7 is the school district.
Which would basically mean our elementary is gonna have to switch and start around at
Yeah.
7:15 time.
Yeah, and that would put us starting high school after 8:30. And put us starting middle school after 8 o'clock, right? Which creates some serious challenges for a lot of our extracurricular programs that we have at the high school level in terms of sports and clubs, right? In terms of students that are high school seniors and juniors that are working, right? And you get to work, by 2 o'clock or you get to work by 3 p.m. And so, what the state of Florida has asked districts to do is if they want to remain on their current schedule, where middle school would start before 8 o'clock, where high school would start before 8:30, they must engage with the community and get feedback from the community in terms of what is the community, does the community support the current start, the current start times, or would the community prefer to move to the much later start times, all right? And so we would like to hear from you as community members what your thoughts were on the topic. Mr. Willoughby?
I'm not sure exactly how likely it is. I did read the Florida legislature just passed the bill to repeal
Today.
that bill.
Today.
But in the repeal, you have to, basically the repeal gives us the option. You still have to do it unless
Unless,
you can prove that you've talked to the community or you've got a reason why you want to leave the same. And so that's one of the reasons we're asking you that. What is your opinion then on high school, you work at the high school, right? What's your opinion then on the high school start at 8:30 rather than 7?
I would say we did the same. My viewpoint on it is students stay up late now at this 7:30 start time, push it to 8:30. More than likely, they're just gonna stay up even later. It's gonna be the same situation we're in now.
Okay, that's great. Appreciate that. Any other feedback? Is there any, do you have any comments that you would like to add on the start times? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I probably better to keep it. I have 2 daughters and one's in elementary and one's starting high school, so it's a challenge.
Right. Okay. Yep, and we're just asking for opinion right now. So that's why, the state says we need to engage our stakeholders, and that's what we're doing. So if you have other thoughts, please don't hesitate to call, text, come by, email, whatever, so we make sure we hear your opinion. Yes, ma'am, thank you. Any other questions about the school starts to stop now? Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Duncan, Mr. Sanchez. And one of the things we like about that is the fact that we get to engage. We want to hear from you again. We want to be, a community school where you have a voice, we hear you, and we're making sure that we're carrying out your thoughts and wishes for what our school system needs to be. Dr. Mundy's going to come up and she's going to talk to you about an incredible opportunity that you have to have your voice heard even more as we go forward, and how we can use you and you can leverage your voice, especially the parents that have children and our employees, so that our school system represents you and your thoughts and desires. Dr. Mundy?
So within the district, we have several plans or several items that we should be engaging our stakeholders and our parents and our community members on. And so one of them is the strategic plan that we just talked about. And if you think about the one goal that was parent and community engagement, those ideas of having stakeholder input into the plan is not only mandated by the state, but also it helps us be better. We have great leaders, we have great teachers, we have great students, and now we're looking for our great parents and community members to also add their input. So we have devised a district advisory council, and they will meet 4 times a year. Maybe 3 or 4, depending quarterly. Sometimes you get busy. And within those meetings, you will have, ideas that the district is working on, and we'll be asking for your input, sort of like with the start times. So if you're wanting to sign up, I have the form here. No pressure at this point. You can also do it via the QR code that's on the wall. That is a survey. Francisco, do you want to talk any more about the survey or?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, what I want to start off saying is that sometimes a question may come up, it's like, oh man, I forgot it, I should have asked it while I was there. So, what we did is we created a survey, and you guys are able to scan this QR code and it redirects you to a link. That link is our survey for Town Hall 2025 that you guys can put in a series of questions that are answers to questions that are asked, and you're able to share that survey. At the very bottom too, you can share it with any individual who may not be here. And for those of you online, we all haven't forgotten about you. The survey, the link is on Facebook and YouTube, so they're also able to click on that, on the survey, and then it asks a series of questions. Those questions are both English and Spanish. For any of our Spanish speakers that want to participate and want to be part of the advisory council, you are also able to express your interest in that survey. So at the very bottom, you're able to go and put in your information and say, hey, I wasn't able to sign up, or I wasn't there in person, but I would like to participate. Here's my information. And that survey gives you guys an opportunity and a voice to talk about the topics that we talked here, about the calendar, about our strategic plan, about anything that concerns with you guys. There is a little column at the very end that just gives you guys a voice and a platform to talk about what we're doing.
Awesome.
Anybody want to?
I
I have some nods.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what we're here for. I love it. I love it. Well, we have come to the point in time where we are through with our scheduled agenda items that we have. Is there anything that y'all would like to ask of us as a district or the schools? So open question time. Is there anything yes, ma'am?
On the start times, is this like a trial type of thing?
So the start times, I don't know if you would call it a trial as much as a moving target, right? And so, and by the way, I want to say this, Mr. Clay is in charge of the transportation department. And I know y'all work, but if anyone's listening, or on social media watching us right now, we always need drivers. And so that really is a lot of the big driving factor that we have behind that, is making sure we have enough people to go pick the bus, to take the bus, go get the students, bring them back, get them home, and we struggle with that. So we have to make sure, and it is a very dynamic juggling act, to make sure that you got one school, we know how many minutes it is to the next school, and so it is, it could change a little bit every year, but we try to keep it as close as possible so that we know that work times and schedules are big. Now, one of the things that we do here, you said you have a child going to elementary, right?
In elementary.
In elementary, and so on the elementary drop off, a lot of our parents have to go to work when they drop the child off. And so we do have, for the parent drop-off line, that will open a little sooner, because we know that. These start times kind of infringe a little bit on when most people have to be at work, and so they will open several minutes earlier to allow you to drop your child off, and then there will be have personnel there to take those parent drop-offs only, and then you can go on work a little earlier. So we're trying our best to be community-minded, oriented, and understand the needs of the parent. Anything else? Mr. Logan? We can't tell you how much we appreciate y'all coming. We can't tell you how much we appreciate those of you joining us. If you're online, if there are further questions or anything you would like to know, all of our staff is available. We have kind of an open door policy, and so please don't hesitate to reach out at any time. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Team Hendry. Appreciate you.